Hello lovely people, let me ask you a question. What are some of the best accessories you can buy for your camera if you are a filmmaker or a photographer, content creator generally? What would you say is like some of the best accessories you could buy that you know that no matter what, those things add value and you can't go wrong investing in them? Today I'm going to talk to you about one of those things, and that is the camera cage. This is the camera cage I used for my Sony a7 III, which I have sold. One of the last videos I did was how I traded up my Sony a7 III for the Sony ZV-E1, which is what I'm using to shoot this video right now. And I also have the same type of cage for my Sony ZV-E1. I also have a similar cage for my DJI Action 4. Right? And I also have for the Pocket 3. What is a camera cage? A camera cage is an accessory. It's made of metal and it fits around your camera very tightly, as closely as possible to the body of your camera, offering protection and additional mounting points for various accessories like lights, microphones, handles, grips, and even tripods, gimbals, and so on and so forth. So if you are really looking to enhance your overall shooting experience, like you're going out to cover an event, or you're going out to shoot a documentary, or you're going out to just create content, you want to be able to have different accessories attached to your camera, like lights, like power bank and cables, like a monitor and all of those things. You might want to think about getting a camera cage if you don't already have one. So there are different brands that make camera cages: PGY Tech, HD Rig, Ulanzi, Tilta, Camvate, Falcam, Small Rig, so many of them. Now this particular cage is made by Small Rig. This one is also by Small Rig. This one is made by Tilta, a different company, Tilta, for the DJI Pocket 3. So if you're out shopping for camera cage, you know, just in case you come across all these various names, it's a good idea to do your research and just go through the whole range and see which one you think, you know, will work for you. So why should you get a camera cage? Number one is enhanced protection. So nothing as scary as your camera falling down. Maybe if you're in a fast-paced environment, you're shooting a wedding, you're jumping from one car, maybe from the car to the hall, and then you have to get outside. You have your stuff on a tripod, or you're in a movie set, a set of a movie, wherever you may be. And if sometimes even while at home. The other day I was just at home practicing my camera, and then I didn't realize I hadn't tightened it very well to the tripod, and it fell down. But I wasn't as worried as I would have been if there wasn't a camera cage on it. So this camera cage is great because the likelihood that when the camera falls is going to land on one of these edges is much higher than landing on the body of the camera. For me, the most useful reason to have a camera cage is that it protects you. It protects your device from damage if it falls, or if anything should hit it or something like that. So it generally helps to prevent your camera from damage from bumps, even wear and tear, rubbing against other things in your camera bag, for instance. It's particularly useful for photographers and videographers, especially when you're out on the field or shooting in fast-paced environments. I cannot recommend it highly enough that you should get something. That's why I say I even have it for my Pocket 3 and also for my DJI Action 3. And when I was using a GoPro, I also had it for my GoPro camera. Now the other reason why you should get it is that it increases the versatility of the way you're able to use your gear. Now just imagine your camera is hooked up to this. You have all of these screws. These are various screws. This one is 1/4 inch and this one is 3/8 of an inch. You can attach different things to it. Then it also has like a horseshoe mount. You can attach, like for instance, a light. So here I'm going to attach this new light I just got. There you go. This makes it easy for you to be able to have additional lighting when you're shooting a video, or even your speed lights can attach to it. There you go. And even the camera cage for my Action 4 can have an additional light. All these action cameras, the sensors are really quite small. They don't do well in low light. So it's a good idea to have a cage so you can attach an additional light to it to make sure that you're lighting your scene adequately. Other things that you can attach include a small mini tripod like this. There are so many screws underneath, so I can attach this one right here. This is great. Other things can be attached as well. So the good thing about this is that there's still a space for your battery in case you want to swap out batteries. And here for your memory cards and other things. The cold shoe mounts, the 1/4 inch threads and the 3/8 threads, and all of those holes allow you to attach other things like handles, like accessories and other things. This gives you a lot of flexibility in your gear. One other reason to get a cage is that it improves the handling of your camera. Now, if you've read or watched the reviews of the Sony ZV-E1, you may have come across the information that the grip is really quite small, especially if you have big hands, and so people find it a little bit less comfortable carrying cameras like that with small grips. But the small rig camera cage for the Sony ZV-E1, which I have on the camera right now, gives you that added grip. And not only that, there's also the other side of it that you can also grip, so it just makes it easier to hold your gear and all of that. For instance, I also bought this side grip, so I can easily attach this to one of the screws on the cage, which allows me to have even extra additional grip. It's really good. This one is for the Action 4, and the Action 4 is really quite small, right? But let's say you wanted to have an extra grip. All I need to do is attach this, and I have extra grip for my Action 4. Makes a lot of sense. Now, one other reason why you want to get a camera cage is that it allows you to have better cable management. Now, you've seen all these professional rigs where the camera has all these other accessories around it, and there are lots of cables involved in doing that kind of high-level professional work. One of the cables is like this micro HDMI. Sometimes these little spots can be very fragile and can easily disconnect while you're shooting, or it can even just be like a regular USB-C cable that you are attaching to your camera, maybe from a power bank or from any other device. And so some of these camera cages have these additional accessories that allow you to secure your cables. So the way this works is that your camera body is inside here, then you have all those other ports in here. So when the cable comes in here, you're able to tighten it up. So that helps with securing the cables, making sure that they do not disconnect while you're shooting. I have two more reasons why you should get a camera cage. The other reason is that for handheld shooting, when you're using very light cameras or light things that do not have inbuilt stabilization, every slight movement of your hand affects the smoothness or the stability of your footage. So generally speaking, the heavier your setup, the less likely it is going to shake whenever your hands move. And so one other reason to get a camera cage is that it adds just a little bit more weight to your camera. So for instance, this DJI Pocket 3, I discovered that yes, the footage is usually very smooth and all that, but generally speaking, your hand just keeps moving, and depending on your settings, some of that movement might reflect when you're capturing your footage and you're playing it back, and you see that yes, it's supposed to be smooth, but if you're used to using gimbals, you know what I mean. So generally speaking, this adds a little bit more weight to the setup. My hand is a little bit more steady. It might be another reason to get a camera cage, because it will just add that little extra weight that you need to make your footage a bit steadier. And lastly, I would highly recommend getting it because it just makes your gear look a little bit more professional. It gives you that effigy, that look, and your clients and people around will see that whole rigged up setup, and they feel like, yeah, this guy is really invested in what he's doing. He's really a serious photographer, really a serious videographer. Interestingly, camera cages are more common with video makers, right? Videographers, because you want to attach lights, microphones and all of those things. But even if it's just photography that you do, you could get a very nice sleek camera cage that you could use to make it look cooler, make it look bad, you know what I mean? So yeah, if you're a photographer, don't rule it out. So how do you install your camera cage? I just quickly switched over to the DJI Pocket 3 so I could show you how my Sony ZV-E1 is rigged up. As you can see, the camera cage, small rig camera cage, now this particular camera cage came with this added part that allows for an easier grip. So the actual grip of the Sony ZV-E1 is smaller than this, but this one allows you to have a more fuller grip. And then not only that, I was able to get this strap that's attached to it. So that makes it easier. So for photography, you're going around taking pictures, maybe street photography, this is a good accessory that you can attach to your camera cage. It allows you to hold the camera a little bit more tighter and gives you that added control. And then on this other end, you can see what I was saying about cables. So here we have this cable that's supposed to be attached to the end of this microphone. And for instance, you're in a very mobile situation and you don't want it to lose, you can use this cable management system. You can use it to secure this particular cable and other cables like it, like the one that comes with the monitor that I was telling you about, with the monitor. Another important thing about the camera cage is that it allows you to also have a top handle like this. The top handle comes in very useful for videography. You're trying to make sure that you have a good grip and you have better control. So this allows me to hold my camera. So when I'm shooting, it's easy to hold the camera from different angles. And if I wanted to have an additional grip on the other side, there you go. So this allows you to have that extra grip for smooth camera motion. With the way this camera is padded up, you can be sure that if it falls down, the only thing likely to get damaged is the lens, because the lens protrudes, but the camera body itself is going to stay very secure. So this is added protection, like I was saying before, for your camera body. Some of the other accessories that you can attach include like this monitor. So the monitor can actually go to the top of the top handle or to the camera cage, whichever one you prefer, depending on the other accessories that you have. So here, the monitor is attached. As a videographer, when I'm shooting, I can see what I'm doing much more clearly because of this. Like I said, it allows you to be very versatile. I've done all kinds of setups with this. I've found a way to attach a power bank or a battery pack to this, so you have extra power in case the batteries of your camera are running low. Like I was saying the other time, underneath you see that it's easy for you to be able to remove the battery of the camera and swap it if you want to swap it. And on this side, it's easy for you to be able to remove the memory card if you need to remove the memory card or attach any other cables. This is the DJI Action 4 naked, without anything, very small, comfortable. This is so small, it feels fragile, even though the action cameras are actually very rugged. But for the other reasons I mentioned, you may want to get a cage for this, which is the added accessory points or added modifications, things like where you can attach lights, microphones and other things. So I'm going to show you how I put it. There's a switch here. Once you just click it open, the back door opens, and then this one goes in nicely, and then you shut it. That's all, it's done. So unlike these other rigs where you screw this into the bottom of your camera for added security. So these kind of rigs most of the time come with 2 or 3 ways that you can connect or hook it up to your camera. There's this screw at the bottom that you have to screw into the bottom of your camera, and then there's usually some other points up here that you can also use to attach it. And then, like I said, with this, you can easily add an additional handle, a tripod. It allows you to place it on any surface. If you had a Gorilla Pod, you can also attach it because it allows you to hook it to any tree. And knowing that it's in a cage, it gives you that added confidence because you know that even if it falls, this cage is going to take the brunt of the impact and protect your device. Then of course, you can also add your lights and add an extra microphone or any other thing you want to add to it. So I just thought I'd do this quick video just to tell you a little bit about camera cages. My own experience using them has been great. I never really thought about using camera cages before because I wasn't really so much into video making when I started my whole journey with cameras. I was more of a photographer, so the most important thing for you as a photographer most times when you're starting out is like having a camera strap that you can put around your neck, or those camera belts that you put on the shoulder belts, on the waist belts, because you want something that you can easily pull up. But I started making videos, and when I saw the need to have other things like lights, microphones and so on, that's when I started thinking of camera cages. But then thinking about it now, because I always have my camera cage on my camera, even if I'm just taking photographs, I just found that it's just very convenient to keep it on, not necessarily having to remove it. And like I said, the advantages for photography may be that it will give you that extra added grip, extra weight, which reduces camera shake. And then you can attach things like power banks to it and other things that you might find useful or important for the job that you're doing. So yeah, that's it. I hope this video was helpful. It's just a quick video just to talk about camera cages, and in other videos I'll be sharing other accessories I use to make my work and the whole process of creating content with the cameras, whether it's photos or videos, all the accessories that make that process a little bit more enjoyable, a little bit more rich, and a little bit more useful or flexible. So if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Watch the other videos on the channel. Let me know what you think in the comments. Catch you in the next one.